Welcome to Catch 22, guys. We have a special guest with us today. We have Cedric Simmons. It's really interesting because Flight 22 is actually named after this guy. He's paved the way for so many players that have played today, man. And so, Ced, thanks for joining us today, man.
Oh, thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, man. So the thing with this podcast, man, we want people to, hear about each other's journeys. Some people don't realize, what it really takes to, make it to, where you made it to the NBA. We all have that dream. And it's like, we want to hear about the journey, man. What was impactful in our lives. What influenced the decisions that you made, man. So, kind of tell us about your experience with Flight 22.
Well, with Flight 22, when I started, it wasn't even Flight 22. It was the Wilmington Warriors. Okay. And Falk was real young. We were young. And I mean, me and my mom talk about it all the time. I don't know how or why she trusted us with I guess it was early in the early 20s. We were driving around in vans and going different places. And I mean, it was the same Falk you see today with the passion and love for the kids and just want to do well, just want everybody to succeed. And that's what I remember. It was just a young coach, and we riding around in vans in West Virginia and going to all these different places and playing AAU. My first time ever playing AAU, leaving Brunswick County, which was a big step for me. Seeing different parts of the world was a life-changing experience. I remember it to this day.
Yeah, man, that's crazy, man. What would you say is like your most memorable moment? Kind of, maybe a tournament or,
We had our first game in Durham. I think it was Durham, and I got a pass from Chris Clark, and I went up and dunked over 2 or 3 different guys, and that was kind of the moment where everybody thought like, okay, this kid could probably play in the Division one day. And Falk had a picture of it for so long that he probably still has it. You got to look real close to know it's me, though, because, the quality isn't that good. But
yeah.
That was probably the thing. I mean, just taking off from that dunk, just, how it feels like it's kind of like a out-of-body experience. Like when you do something like that, you kind of surprise yourself, but at the same time, you want to kind of look calm and look like you've done it.
Right. Like I remember my first body, man. I went up and it was in high school, and I just went up and dunked on this kid who was like, I think it was like 6'2". He went up body to body with me, and I dunked it, and I was like, hey, yo, was that me that just did that? Like, and I was like, I got so hyped, but at the same time I had to look cool. I was like, let's go.
Yeah.
I've done this before.
Yeah, I was like, this is what I do, man.
Yeah, Nicole, what about your experience? Have you dunked on anybody,
Yeah, so all the time. No, just kidding. No, but I mean, I played basketball, I played AAU, I did travel ball and everything. And I remember as a female, I remember like my first putback. Like I was right there, and I like to think I was right there to the rim, but I wasn't. I was probably nowhere near it. But I remember like having my first like real putback where I went over the girl and like put the ball back, up. And it is you like want to go crazy, but it's like, okay, act like you've been here before. Act like you've been here before. So
you don't want to run back you don't want to run back like a 5-year-old when they score their first basket,
right? Then they go back and like score.
Exactly, man. So how are the dudes that you play with on Flight 22? Like did anybody else end up going like to college and playing, or were you kind of like that guy that kind of paved the way?
Well, we had Chris Clark.
Okay, yeah.
I think he went to New Orleans, then he went to Utah State. Had a good career. He's still playing pro. And I think that's probably about it.
Yeah.
I have to think back, but I think he's probably the only guy that went Division One.
Do you still keep up with any of those guys? Do you
still
talk to them? It's awesome.
I still see Chris. I still talk to Chris. Whenever he comes back to North Carolina, we meet up. And Chris Williams, I don't know if you know him, but he played on Flight 22. He went to NC State.
Yeah.
He still lives around in Raleigh, so I see him from time to time.
Yeah.
That's probably about it. I Oh, Lee Jones. I talked to Lee Jones a couple of years ago.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. So I know this is kind of, you're a high school athlete. You're like, man, I'm just waiting for that first offer, man. So kind of talk about that experience whenever you got your first college scholarship offer.
Man, I told my son this story the other day. I used to play pickup games with the community college by my house, Brunswick Community College. And at that time, they had a lot of D1 players, a lot of guys that were trying to get a second chance in college. And the UNC Asheville coach came down one day and watched them play pickup, and I joined the pickup. And after the pickup game, it was Coach Biedenbach. He went up to me. He said, son, I want to offer your first scholarship to UNC Asheville. You probably won't go here one day, but I want to make it official and give you your first offer. And that was in 9th grade, playing with, guys that were already in college.
Yeah.
I mean, I was skinny and all that stuff, running around, jumping, but I guess whatever he saw,
yeah,
it must have been enough.
Yeah,
That's
man.
awesome.
I definitely get it, man. I remember my first scholarship offer was a Division II school called Georgian Court, man. And I just remember when I finally got it, I was like, dang, man, like I'm set, like I'm good. I was just like, I don't have to worry anymore. It's kind of like that weight is kind of lifted off your shoulders. It's like, okay, like I have an avenue I can go down now. And it's like so dope. Like knowing that you don't have to stress about that anymore.
Right. I mean, because the percentages of kids that play high school ball it's not that high of getting a scholarship to any level.
Right.
And just to get one, it's kind of, it does lift the weight off of you, and it kind of gives you confidence that maybe I can play, maybe I am that good.
Right.
If they want me, then who else want me?
Right.
Kind of go up from there.
Exactly.
Yeah, it gets addicting a little bit. You're like, all right, who's coming at me next? Who wants me? Yeah.
Exactly. So it's like, man, what was it like whenever you got that first offer? Like, did a lot of offers start flowing in from that, or did it just like
he was
kind of stay
you were
stagnant?
a freshman, right?
You were a freshman.
You said
I'm a freshman.
Yeah.
And I think the year between my freshman and sophomore year, I got injured. I had a knee injury at the camp at UNCW team camp. So I kind of missed half the summer then. But then that next year, playing AAU with Flight 22, with Wilmington Warriors / Flight 22 back then, that's when the offers started coming in. That's when NC State started driving up to West Virginia to watch me play. And Wake Forest was interested, and I went and played in the Pepsi Challenge, which you probably don't know what that is, but that's just a glorified pickup games of all the top players in the state. So yeah, at the end it was just me picking between NC State and Wake Forest, and I committed to NC State that my sophomore year. The end of my sophomore year, yeah.
Wow.
I committed to NC State, so. I
Wow,
knew where I was going for a couple of years.
Yeah, that's early. I was gonna say.
Yeah. It was very early.
Yeah. Okay. So taking that you kind of grew up an NC State fan, like pretty much.
No, I did not.
Wow.
I was a Carolina fan, man.
The irony.
Go Heels.
The irony, just, man.
That part of the country, southeastern North Carolina, that's all you see is Carolina blue, So I just wanted to kind of just pick the college that came at me first, kind of the one that seemed interested before all the other ones wanted.
Loyalty.
I was, nationally ranked, before I was ranked in the state. I kind of just wanted to, pick the people that seemed like they really wanted me the most.
Yeah, that's awesome. I hear a lot of players, that's a big reason why they want to go to certain schools or play for certain coaches, because of that loyalty, standing beside them. They wanted them before anybody else wanted them. And I think that is important. I mean, in every aspect in life, but especially when you're picking where to go to school and stuff. So that's really cool. So
yeah, definitely, man. I mean, so talked about, kind of how loyalty was your big deciding factor in choosing NC State. What was that experience like playing at an ACC school, a school that you grow up watching on TV? Now you have that opportunity to play for them. Yeah,
it was just, I'm from Supply, North Carolina, man. I don't know where you guys know where that is, but
I know, man. I know.
To run out into the PNC Arena in front of like 19,000 people. I was so scared but so anxious at the same time, and it was on TV, and people text me saying they saw me on TV, and it was just basically like a dream come true, And then going to play in some of these places like the Dean Dome, playing against Duke, playing in, Florida State, all these places you see on TV, and you look around and shoot around, and it's like, man, I'm really here. I'm an ACC player, I made it. Basically, that's kind of the feeling that you get.
Yeah.
So what was it like? You said you grew up a Carolina fan. So what was it like playing your first game against Carolina?
Oh, I wanted to shine. I wanted to show. Well, I wanted to show them, Carolina didn't offer me in 10th grade.
There you go.
Right.
They missed
But
out.
at the same time, I think that was their championship year, if I'm not mistaken. And that game didn't go too well. But I did get to play at the end because it was just from the point difference. It was at Carolina, and I think we were down 20. So, and I ended up playing pretty good. I think I ended up having a double figures for sure.
Okay.
Didn't get any dunks, but it was that. I mean, I tell people all the time, playing in Carolina, playing the Dean Dome is more nerve wracking to me than playing at Duke. It's just so many people, It's just, and it's all chairs. There's no suites. There's no VIP suites. There's nothing. It's just all chairs and people just screaming and cheering, and it gets loud in there.
Mm-hmm.
Right. What would you say was kind of like your welcome to college basketball moment? I would say mine was, my first game was at the University of Iowa. I get dunked on by Tyler Cook, and I'm like, oh, I'm with the big dogs now. I'm not in college anymore. Like, what would you say was kind of like your humbling welcome to college moment?
I think mine was, well, we had 3 games in a row. I think we played Carolina, then we played Wake Forest, and it might have been Maryland or something like that. And all those teams are known to have big guys,
Yeah.
I remember Sean May. I heard the play call. I remember, I'm going through it in my head. And next thing I know, he has the ball, and it's too late. I'm sitting under the basket, and it's an and one,
Yeah.
And I can just hear my coach yelling my name. And I'm like, oh, man, I'm about to come out the game. And then the next game was Eric Williams. It's the same thing. You know how they pick on freshmen. You don't know you don't know what's coming.
Right,
I mean, but it's like everything is moving so fast.
Exactly.
But nobody really dunked on me that year. I got dunked on pretty bad my sophomore year by Chris Ellis that went to Wake Forest. It was a 2-handed dunk, and I remember I got so mad I was yelling at my teammates. And, you got to blame that on somebody else. You get upset with everybody else, and it's your fault. But
exactly,
it was just one of those welcome. Yeah, like you said, welcome to college, man. You're good, but it's guys out here just as good as you. That moment, you feel it like.
Yeah,
ooh.
Definitely, man. So what would you say was the point where you realized, oh, I actually have a shot to go to the NBA?
Just going from my freshman year, not playing that much, to my sophomore year to being a starter. First game we played, big game we played was the ACC Big Ten Challenge. We went to Iowa. And I think the first part of that game, I had about 5 or 6 blocks in a row. I ended up the game with 13 points, 13 rebounds, and 9 blocks. So I'm like, and that was on ESPN,
Yeah.
And that's, you look for your name at the end of the game, kind of scroll across the bottom.
Yep.
And I was thinking like, man, maybe I do have a chance, because I was dominating all preseason, and it just felt like the game slowed down for me. I got stronger, I got bigger. I was more athletic than a lot of guys, and some of the guys that were just as athletic, I was stronger than, and that kind of made a difference from just those 45-minute skills we were doing at state, between classes, before practice. Those things you get confidence, and that was the big difference for me, just getting confidence. That's when I really kind of knew I was ready for the NBA, and just when you size yourself up against guys that are talked about more, more than you in the ACC, like Sheldon Williams and Marvin Williams and some, Eric Williams at NC State, and I think they had Alexander Johnson at Florida State, Craig Smith, and you go up against those guys and you hold your own.
Right.
And you're like, hey, they, they're on the draft board, and I should be on there too at some point.
Right.
So that was kind of that moment, I realized I was ready.
Yeah, man, that's so dope, man. It's like when you realize you're ready, man, it's just like you just get another wave of confidence. Like whenever you get that first offer from your freshman year in high school, now it's like, oh, now I'm ready for the NBA. It's like, all right, I can go like dog these dudes out on the court now.
Yeah.
And so what was it like when it finally became a reality for you? When you finally found out you're going to the NBA?
Actually, I couldn't believe it. We sent that. There's an underclassman letter you have to send in. Me and Herb sent it in. Herb Sendek was the head coach at NC State.
Yeah.
We sent the underclassman letter in, and it kind of, the GMs rank you and tell you where you're pretty much going in the draft. And they projected me to go 20 to 30th. So that was first round. So right then I'm like, okay, if I haven't even worked out with any teams, I haven't done any, I just played, they're just going off my college tape, then okay, let's see if I get, after I get a month to work on all the things I said I need to work on, my strength, my jump shot, free throws, all this stuff, conditioning. Let's see what they say when they see me in person.
Yeah.
And like I said, at first I couldn't believe it. It's because I was just going through the motions, man. It's just like another day of basketball.
Right.
But then when you start talking to the GMs, and you go work out for the Knicks, and then you go to Philly, and you got to get on all these different planes and go here and there, and then teams tell you they like you, that you got a lot of potential, that they're looking, they're going to pick you in the draft, and then it's like, oh man, like, are you sure you want to pick me?
Right.
It's hard to explain the feeling, but it's a great feeling.
Yeah, man, that's awesome, man. So yeah, I asked you about, what was your welcome to college moment? What would you say was your welcome to NBA moment?
First game of the season we played Yao Ming.
Oh man.
And just to see how big he was, man, he was huge. I mean, he tried to shoot a hook shot. I tried to block it, and I was nowhere close. It's like you standing behind him. I couldn't even see the guy passing him the ball. He was like a big wall. But I think for me, there's just some of the guys you grow up watching, Kobe and all those guys, and you finally see you're on the court with them.
Yeah,
that's that kind of gives you butterflies. That, like I said, it makes you nervous and excited at the same time.
Right.
KG was my favorite player growing up. I wanted to be like Kevin Garnett.
Right.
And just playing against him and being on the same court, it's just, it's like a mama I made it moment,
Yeah. Man, I mean, talk about, mama I made it, what was kind of that first thing you may have did, for your moms, or whenever you got to the NBA?
Well, the first thing I did was bought her a house. We kind of moved out of our old house. We bought a house down in Holden Beach, and everybody moved down there, and that was kind of the moment of telling my mom thank you, telling my parents thank you, basically.
Yeah.
Y'all done all these things for me. This is what I'm gonna give you. That's the gift you give. I know it's kind of cliche. That's what everybody does, but
I mean, it's warranted. There's a reason everybody does it. So
exactly. I mean, it's real.
Yeah.
I've always, after all the stuff your parents have done for you, after all the sacrifices they've made, it's like, man, I want I want to treat y'all right. You know, y'all deserve it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's like, man, it's the least I can do. So our show is called Catch 22. So the reason behind Catch 22 is, you know, what is your Catch 22 moment in saying that is, you know, what was kind of a pivotal decision that you made in your life where it's like, man, like, I wonder if I would have made this different decision, or, you know, what was a huge decision in your life that you were like glad you made?
Um, that's a tough question.
Yeah.
I always think about it's not good or bad. It's just when I committed to state in 10th grade, you know,
Yeah.
I always think about what if I would have waited like most guys, wait to my senior year, junior year, just to take all my visits, take all my official visits, just kind of be that recruit, that top recruit that everybody brings in on, you know, on the visits, and go around, see different campuses, talk to different coaches, do all the things that's a part of that recruiting process.
Right.
I never experienced that, you know.
Yeah.
And talking to some guys in college, that experience that you like, man, I wish I would have did it, but I was a quiet kid from a small town, man, and a simple guy, and I'm still a simple guy. So
Trust me, I
yeah.
get it, bro. I mean, I'm from a small town called, I don't know if you ever heard of Bladenboro. It's about 30 minutes from Supply, probably, you know, one stoplight. So I get it, man. Like, small town kid, it's like, whoa, like, got everything right here, man. It's crazy. You know,
I mean, NC State wants me.
right.
How's it gonna get better than this?
Right.
Exactly. And then it got better because you got to go to the NBA, man. That was awesome, man. And then, you know, you had a successful career overseas as well, man. You know, what was it like, you know, getting to go overseas and play over there?
Well, I feel like playing in Europe kind of helped my game go to the next level.
Yeah.
Man, I was drafted in the NBA at 18, 19 years old. I didn't really know myself. I didn't know. All I knew was run and jump and try to dunk whenever I could and pick and roll. But playing in Europe, being alone by yourself in those apartments, and having to be a professional, you know, on and off the court, and having to be a key part of the team where people are depending on you. You know, you got to show up and play, but at the same time, you're away from your family, so you got to be mentally tough too. So I feel like that's where I grew a lot. And in Europe, you know, we do a lot of the practices is fundamentals before you even practice, before you even hit the court, because that's what they're big on. They're big on footwork and they're learning how to dribble. You know, Americans learning how to go off the dribble without traveling. And my coach I had in Greece my first year, he helped me a lot, man. He actually changed my jump shot. He helped me learn some different post moves, how to score in Europe, and besides, you know, using my athletic ability, how to be more of a skilled player. And that helped me a lot going through the rest of my career.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I have a question. You said that you didn't really know that you were gonna go to the NBA until you started saying your name. You're competing with the guys that were at that level or were going to be at that level. What for you did you have in mind as far as a career goes? Outside, had you thought about that, or was it day to day? I'm just going to keep playing ball. We'll see where that takes me. Or did you have a different dream or passion or
you mean as far as early and all that stuff?
Yeah.
Is that what you? I mean, it had never crossed my mind, actually. I mean, I was just enjoying college. You know, I was thinking about my junior year, you know, about maybe being an ACC player of the year or first team all conference, all this stuff, being on the Naismith watch, you know. And then, you get text message from agents saying, hey, they're saying you're going to do, you know, how you doing, Cedric? This is so-and-so agency. If we think you're going to be a top pick, do you want to sign with us? And it's kind of, it seems like everything just happens overnight for you.
Right.
You know? and it happens so fast.
Yeah.
Which could be a positive thing and a negative thing at the same time, you know.
Right.
Because we see all the time that these young kids, they get persuaded the wrong way and end up making wrong decisions when they should just stay in college and continue to develop their skills as a person and a basketball player.
Absolutely. Right. Yeah. You do see that a lot.
Yeah.
a lot.
I mean, with the organization, you know, it's a lot bigger than basketball. You know, we're training young men to be, you know, able to navigate themselves in life, man. And so what advice would you give to them? You know, what if basketball isn't the opportunities that you get? You know, what advice would you give to them?
I mean, as a young athlete, you made I feel like I would tell them it's okay to not play professionally, or it's okay to accept that you're not an NBA player, or you know, letting anyone down by not making it to the NBA, or that pressure, you know.
Yeah.
It's okay to go to school and get a degree.
Right.
It's okay to get an education, man, because sometimes if you look at it, a lot of kids like myself or these other kids that come from small towns, and we're one of the only ones that went to college, you know, or have an opportunity to graduate from college.
Right.
Which is also life-changing just as much as being successful in basketball.
Right.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, that's with my dad coaching college for all those years. I mean, I remember it was always important for him that these kids were getting an education first and foremost, that they were also becoming better men, and they were going to be productive members of society. And so, you know, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
A lot of kids are just going to school sometimes. I mean, even if they do get a scholarship for basketball, it doesn't mean that that's necessarily going to be what takes them to the, you know, they're not going to necessarily go to the NBA. They might just be getting an education, and basketball is allowing them to get that where they might have not been able to afford it otherwise. So there's a lot of perks in it, at least for that. But I know some people get bummed and down that maybe that's the end of it.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Definitely.
Anyway.
And then, you know, you go through your career, you go to the NBA, and then, you know, you remember you get your start with the Wilmington Warriors. How did it feel whenever coach, you know, lets you know, hey, I want to name it Flight 22 after you? You know, what was that moment like, knowing that you made that big of an impact on where you started?
Well, to be honest with you, man, I actually had a deal with Adidas back then, and me and my cousin actually wanted to start an AAU program, and we wanted to have Falk coach it.
Wow.
So we actually came to him, and of course he said yeah. And to be honest with you, I didn't think it would be what it is today. I mean, Falk's done a great job. He's still doing a great job. Like, that was one of those things where you kind of want to thank somebody for being a big part of your life. So, and that was my moment. I think Falk was giving him, you know, Flight 22, and telling him thank you for giving me a chance, for helping me cross that bridge because living in Supply, man, we always say you got to cross that bridge, which means go to Wilmington, get out of, you know. So that was my moment to thank him, and he's done a great job. He's still doing a great job, and it's just like I said, it's way more than I thought it would ever be, and I'm grateful for him and what he's done for me also, and what he's done for a lot of kids.
Oh yeah, that's his baby for sure, and I know he's impacted a lot of you guys. So
yeah, I mean, it's definitely been a huge blessing. You know, I never would have gotten to go play at Belmont Abbey, and then eventually, you know, UNC Wilmington. You know, I wouldn't be here today. You know, this podcast wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for, you know, his sacrifices and, you know, just where the program has gone, man. And, you know, we thank you for, you know, really making such a huge impact on, you know, kids back where you came from, man, because it's really huge to see, you know, you doing something way bigger than yourself. And we see that it's just way bigger than basketball, but we're impacting generations of lives, man.
Yeah. In more ways than you know.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
You never know how somebody's life. That's for sure.
Definitely, man. Well, hey, we appreciate you joining us here on the show, man. And, we wish you the best. And again, thank you, man.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me. And thank you for letting me share part of my life and what I've been through over the years. And